The Minecraft Tiny Takeover drop was interesting. It wasn't the most hated update either, but it wasn't the most loved either. What if this drop was even bigger? Today we're going to talk about all the things that would fit perfectly into this style of an update, in a very vanilla fashion, as we dive into community ideas and see what all could have been inside this drop. Not only that, but I have ideas linking back to other drops perfectly, so we have a couple different sections. So the first section here is dealing with all the models of the animals. Since they did touch all the babies, we're just going to take a look at some. Why does the baby goat and the baby cow both have horns? They really shouldn't have horns. They're only little babies. They're supposed to develop as they get older. This is just kind of wrong. This next thing, however, is directly dealing with how Mojang decided to give all the babies just single black eyes. Here's what's showing the baby pigs if they didn't just have black eyes and actually had some white in their eyes, not look so creepy and demonic. Granted, since the update has started, the black eyes have grown on me, but this looks so natural with just having a little bit of white. We already know they're babies because guess what? They're smaller, so why can't we keep the white eyes? But continuing off the model train, here we have a couple ideas for not only new mobs, which we're not really focusing on, but look at the new model for the baby chick and baby pig. The little baby chick on the left represents the adult better due to all the feathers and fluff on its head, just like the adult, cold, temperate chicken has. Also, the pig is really cute with its floppy ears. One thing I've thought of since I gathered this as an idea is the pig probably shouldn't have ears since the adult doesn't have ears, but since this whole drop is based on cuteness, it would kind of make sense to have cute little ears for the pigs. But that chicken on the left is adorable, which is very similar to this one that has even more feathers or hair or whatever it is on top of the baby chick's head. Of course, Mojang completely retextured the entire rabbit model, which is honestly good and it solves the whole Mixels problem. However, not all rabbits look like they're nice and fluffy. There's some rabbits that look like they're really active, and this is a really cool rabbit that I wish was a variant of the rabbit we now have in the game. Just something so that they're not all nice and fluffy and yay rabbit, because there's some rabbits that truly aren't that fluffy, especially when you're out in the wild. So having some variation, some looking like this example, would have been so cool. Minecraft did the brand new baby sheep model dirty, and it was really sad. So here's an idea that shows not only a new rabbit texture model, but also the sheep. I disagree with this rabbit model here on the left slightly because it creates mixels, especially in its snout there. Thank you OBS on Mac for not showing me my mouse when I'm recording. But you can see the rabbit, that just kind of wouldn't quite make sense, but I just wanted to hone in on the sheep because this makes the sheep so much better. Just sticking the snout out and even those little ears on the side are just great additions to make the sheep not look like absolute crap. And I really love this. And going off the crappy sheep reign of terror, here's different ideas on how you can make the sheep better, even just by adding 2 pixels of color to give them their little white wool on the bottom right and left sides of its face. Man, it really doesn't take much to make the sheep not look absolute crap. On the topic of all these baby textures and stuff though, why is there no baby parrots in Minecraft? They should have done something. Continuing on, we're diving into the strider, and I mean quite literally diving because this person represented the strider as a fish. I ended up liking the strider we got just fine, but this strider is actually really cool and it's more unique than just having the baby be a smaller version of the adult. Like, this is unique. It's too bad Mojang didn't get more fantasy and mythical with its baby creatures, that something like this could have just really done something big for the strider. Like I said, I like what we had with its cute little hairs on the top, but this was definitely a really cool rendition of a baby spider. Not spider, strider. You know how they made baby chicks not necessarily look like the adult chicks? Really, Minecraft life cycles are amazing. This is similar to how they dealt with the frog and tadpole situation, giving it an entire life cycle. So wouldn't it have been cool if they did the same with fish? Here's an example of a salmon going to salmon eggs to a baby salmon. What a neat idea. But then in general, with the whole idea of the drop being babies, one thing I talked about, especially in my last video where I was ranking all the baby mobs, is some of the babies were not quite babies. They were huge. So this person did a rendition of all these babies, and look at them. They are tiny, but they're still pixel accurate with how we see it in game. Granted, I think I like the official turtle more than this turtle, but at the end of the day, it is a smaller baby turtle, and especially that dolphin and those squid variants. I like these smaller babies. Then lastly for this section, how hard would it have been to add 2 more pixels to the villager's nose? Why does our villager have a button nose? Why couldn't it just have a regular massive sized nose? But now we've looked at some of the textures and models of what we currently got in the game. But now, what if the cute drop was expanded to include even more mob variants? This is kind of really reminiscent of the Spring to Life drop from last year, but I thought these were some really great ideas and I had to include them. What if we would have gotten a variant of the turtle? Doesn't even have to be a whole new model, it can just be a retextured version of the turtle, depending on what biome you find the turtle in. That would have been cool. I just wanted to share this video from Harry Dalama, because in the middle of his video, he talked about how different goats should have different textures. There's not just Arctic goats, for up on mountains, but there's inbred farm goats that you can find in real life. So it'd be cool if we had goat variants too. On top of all these new mobs and new mob variants, I think something already announced like the penguin also would have fit in, because they're just cute and adorable mobs for this cute kind of baby adorable yay fluffy mob drop. Of course, especially since it's the 3rd most requested mob by the Minecraft community, the capybara should have been also added, because it just fits in with that whole cuteness idea too. And this guy nails it straight to the point. If it's the cutest drop, you should add cute drop things. Especially since, Minecraft Legends already has a badge, or why not add just more of these ambient little mobs to forests and stuff? It would have made the drop so much more cute. But that's all I have for the mob variants, as now we're moving into mob behaviors. When they added the rabbit into Minecraft here in this drop, or I guess that not added but redid the rabbit, they overhauled it. They gave it a new model, they gave it a new texture, but they also gave it brand new animations. It actually feels like it's alive, it hops around, it stands on its hind legs for a minute. It has a lot better animations than most of the mobs in the game. I wish they would have expanded upon this idea more within this drop, because now what I'm thinking is more mobs need these fresh animations. This video here was an amazing video talking about mob mentality and how different mobs should behave differently in different areas, and just really great. Just a great video to make Minecraft feel more alive with its mobs. I'd recommend checking this out. Of course, all videos and links are in the description below of this video. Speaking of mob behaviors and all that, and I know I talked about this kind of above with one of the other mobs, but it was asked by Jeb that, axolotls also come from axolotl spawn, just like how frogs come from frog spawn and turn into tadpoles, right? The unique life cycle that they kind of have with, I guess now the chicken and the frogs. And why couldn't this come to the axolotl? Or even like we talked earlier with the salmon. Unfortunately, Jens did reply, an official head of Minecraft, that this mob behavior is currently an exception, which is really too bad, because it'd be cool to get more of these mob behaviors to how their life cycle even is within the real game. Hopefully they can add more stuff like that in the future. Of course, the golden dandelion was also added in this tiny takeover drop to stop baby mobs from aging. But guess what? We also have some blocks in the game that can slowly age, such as that frog spawn from a minute ago, turtle eggs, and sniffer eggs. We need something to stop these blocks from aging so we can use them as blocks. This one comes from another great video linked below, and it's about how the sniffer should be the holder of that golden dandelion flower as well. I made a whole video on that I'd recommend checking out, but of course the synopsis is, well, sniffers need more flowers, and here was a really cool, unique flower. They kind of go hand in hand. This would have been a perfect sniffer flower, making it a fun thing to go and find so you can save your baby animals, but no, you can just craft a dandelion into something really powerful. And then speaking of the golden dandelion, how it stops mobs from aging, wouldn't it be cool if there's something that we could use to instantly age mobs? We don't have to sit there and wait for their whole life cycle to get through. Something that just says, hey, you're a baby, now I'm gonna make you grow up right now. Man, that sounds like horrible parenting, but wouldn't that be an interesting thing for a feature in Minecraft? Speaking of the golden dandelion, wouldn't it be cool if the golden dandelion could be turned into a stew? I mean, it's a unique flower with unique properties, so it kind of makes sense, but maybe someday. Of course, in this spring drop, name tags were now made craftable. This is after a long chain of having regular saddles craftable, leads easily able to be crafted. When are we gonna get horse armor? It's about time. I guess this would also fall in place for Nautilus armor too. That would be great. This last one here for the Spring to Life drop is kinda dumb, but since it was in the spring right after the Christmas season, why don't the chest boats get the Christmas chest texture? Missed opportunity. But wait, it's not over yet because I still have some ideas based on some of the other previous drops. For example, the Mounts of Mayhem, Copper Age, and the Chase the Skies drop. So the ideas aren't quite done yet. However, this is not the first time I've talked about these drops in an ideas video, as I've been doing a lot of these community ideas videos. There is an entire playlist, and if you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe, because it's been really fun to dive into your guys' ideas and see what would really fit well into these Minecraft drops. So this is another short from a Mog Swamp, but it was under the whole notion of, well, there's zombie nautiluses, why can't we cure the zombie nautiluses into regular nautiluses? We can cure zombie villagers back into villagers. Why can't we do this for nautiluses, or even thinking about it, even just like zombie horses? It'd be really cool and just interconnect features even more than what they currently are. Also with the whole idea of mounts and saddles, especially since we not too long ago just talked about how horse armor should be craftable, not saddles I guess, but we should have a armor stand specifically for horse armor. That'd be good. Moving on to the Copper Age already, and going back to that whole idea of stews, there should be a copper version of the cauldron specifically for stew making, much like how potions and cauldrons work on Bedrock Edition. And then finally, going on to the Chase the Skies drop. Of course, Chase the Skies gave the ability to leash entities to other entities. You can leash boats to boats, horses to horses, pigs to cows, all sorts of crazy things. So this is from Minecraft Feedback website, why can't we leash minecarts like we can with boats? What a missed opportunity. But with that, that is all the ideas I've gathered here for this spring drop. It has been an interesting drop cycle, and this is just ideas and ways to expand it so that we could have gotten more. Of course, this is all ideas and all theoretical, and Mojang could never add all these things, but it's always interesting to see what other people have out there with their great ideas for how Minecraft updates could be even just a little bigger. Like I said, the Spring to Life drop, nobody has hated it, but it's just not all that loved because it just doesn't have that much more to offer. So any of these ideas could have fit in and just made it even a little better. Hopefully the summer drop here is even bigger. Of course, Minecraft Live is coming up this Saturday, and I can't wait to talk about the new features. But for now, this was this version of community ideas for this drop. So like I said, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.